Welcome to Anti-Woke and Autistic. I found this on Instagram. It comes up a lot in social media. It's when a child asks, why is that person fat? Kids will always ask questions like that. They'll be at a supermarket or a crowded venue or just even in a park. They might be someplace, they might be just taking a walk on their street with their parent, and the kid innocently asks, why is that person fat? Why is that man fat? Why is that lady fat? Why is that girl fat? It happens all the time. They're curious. This Instagrammer here suggests that the answer be something like, fat is how our body stores energy. Each person's body uses and stores energy differently. That's why people come in all shapes and sizes. Cool, right? That answer is not accurate. First of all, fat is a form of energy, but some people who are fat store too much energy. There's too much energy being stored. That's because they're eating too much. I'm not talking about very rare cases of genetic disorders where morbid obesity is common, like a genetic condition called Prader-Willi syndrome. I'm just talking about the typical American or the typical person in an industrialized society where overeating is common, it's very easy, food is highly accessible, and physical activity has been drastically reduced by changes in lifestyle compared to the way people lived 100 years ago, even 50 years ago. So she says fat is how our body stores energy. Yeah, okay, but each person's body uses and stores energy differently. Well, that's true in that some people have a naturally very fast metabolism. We've all known people who eat probably 4 or 5,000 calories a day and don't do a whole lot of exercise, yet they're slender. They just put it away. Where does she put it? Where does he put it? And we know people who they have to watch every calorie or else they'll be 10 or 15 pounds overweight. But if they're watching their calories, they're not going to be obese, especially morbidly obese. We know people who drop weight easily once they start exercising. There are other people who don't lose weight as easily from exercise, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. They just have to work a little bit harder. So yes, there's variations within a small parameter as far as each person's body uses and stores energy differently. There are other variables that affect that. How much muscle mass you have. Were you born with poor or low muscle tone? Do you have PCOS? Do you have untreated low thyroid? Do you have untreated overactive thyroid? Are you on certain medications that may impact hunger or appetite or metabolism? Do you have a condition, a medical condition that can make you hungry or feel full? I mean, there's variables. Stress, lack of sleep or sleep disorders could affect appetite, could affect when you eat. If you don't exercise, you're going to have a slower resting metabolism. If you work out and you have a lot of lean body mass, also known as muscle, you're going to have a faster metabolic rate. So again, this is all within a rather small parameter, and these variables do not explain why some people weigh 350 pounds, 400 pounds. Why is it with each decade a higher percentage of people in the American population are grossly overweight, are super morbidly obese? This is becoming more and more and more popular. If you take people today who are considered super morbidly obese, we see them walking around and everything, and people stare and they make comments. But if you took that same person, if you took somebody like Tess Holliday, like 100 years ago, 120 years ago, she'd be the circus fat lady. Today, she's a supermodel. So, yes, more and more people, not just because, and I'm not saying this is not because of population growth. I'm talking about percentages. Higher and higher percentages of people with each decade are morbidly and super morbidly obese. There is a real problem here. It's not related to genetics, it's related to lifestyle, overconsumption. So back to what she says here. That's why people come in all shapes and sizes. Now, If we go back 100 years, or if we look at modern day hunter gatherers, that statement is false. People come in all shapes and sizes. People always come in all heights, and they come in variations of proportions. People of the same height may have different proportions in that one has a long torso and shorter legs, and the other of the same height may have a shorter torso and longer legs. They may have bigger feet than the other person who's the same height. They may have shorter arms or longer arms. They may have a shorter neck. They may have narrow, round shoulders. They may have square, broad shoulders. They may be curvy or they may be shaped kind of straight up and down. They may have no waist, like straight up and down. They may have a flat butt, a round butt. So, yeah, people can come in different shapes, different bone structures in that sense, but it's not natural and it's not normal for people to come in sizes that include obesity, morbid obesity, and super morbidly obese, or as fat acceptance says, what is it? The fat spectrum, medium fat, large fat, super fat, infinifat. That's not normal. It's not normal. That is not the product of genetics. It's not the product of human evolution. It's not the product of the way the human body is naturally diverse. It is the product of lifestyle. It's the product of overconsumption. When your child asks, or when any child you're caring for asks, why is that person fat? Why can't we just be straight up and honest with them? Why can't we just say, chances are pretty high they overeat, period. Let it go. Be casual. They overeat. Why do you sugarcoat this? Like, fat is how our body stores energy. Each person's body uses and stores energy differently. That's why people come in all shapes and sizes. Cool, right? Let's see how a 3 or 4-year-old absorbs that. Just be honest and straightforward. Just say that person probably overeats and let it go. And if you just let it go, your kid will let it go. But if you give them a whole paragraph of explanation, it's going to get them thinking, it's going to get them confused and mixed up. Just say they probably overeat. The reason I say probably is because there's a rare chance they could have Prader-Willi syndrome. There's a rare chance they could have a brain tumor that's impacting metabolism or appetite, or they could be on a medication for the brain tumor that increases hunger. They could have just some kind of condition going on, but chances are extremely high they don't have any of those conditions and simply do what 42 or 43% of Americans do. They overeat, they overconsume. So, why is that person fat? Well, they probably overeat. Move on. Now, if the kid asks another question, well, why do they overeat? Well, that's something you have to play by ear. This video is about answering the question, why is that person fat? The younger the child, the more likely they'll be satisfied with your answer to why is that person fat, rather than following up with another question and another question and another question. If the child is older, they'll probably figure out for themselves why that person overeats. I mean, everywhere you look, there's a McDonald's, there's bakery, there's burrito stands, donut stores. I mean, food is everywhere. So the more you make a big deal about food and overeating, the more your kid starts thinking about it and may get mixed up. Just be simple and straightforward, be truthful, and that's all you need to do. If your child asks, why is that person fat? Just be honest, be clear, be simple. Well, that's it for today. Have a wonderful day.